Well, hello, my name's Treesap, and I've been trying to put my thoughts together about Monster Hunter Wilds into something more concrete because I've rambled about it a few times, well, attempted to do so, and then I just ended up deleting those because I would be sitting down and then another thought would pop into my head. Just to give you a little backstory about my experience with Monster Hunter, my introduction to the series was in 2008 with Freedom Unite on the PSP, and since then I've kind of consistently been playing Monster Hunter titles, even though back then when I was playing Freedom Unite, I was just getting destroyed left and right, being like a literal child, getting destroyed by fucking Plesioth, which isn't something that should really be surprising, simply because if you play back then, or even say in Tri Ultimate, if you remember the experience of Plesioth having terrible hitboxes, that was just a consistent thing, even with some spin-off games referencing that with his attacks specifically. Actually, I have those right here in my, what am I thinking about right now, Monster Hunter Stories, having Plesioth have a move that references his terrible hitboxes. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Let's get back on the topic. I don't hate Monster Hunter Wilds. I've actually been enjoying it. I've put 90 hours into the game and I'm past HR 100, but I've taken a good amount of time off of the game. Luckily, some new content's coming out soon, and not too long, with the first title update and some events and stuff like that. We've already had a few events, and they weren't anything really exciting because by the time they came out, I had already grinded so much that I was not really having much difficulty going through that content. It's nice to get the little things here and there, get a cute little hat, but any items I would have got from it weren't really that useful for me. But one thing that been a part of my Monster Hunter experience was the big jump from the classic games to World and then Rise, because that was a big shift in how Monster Hunter really played. And I won't lie to you, I was kind of taken aback for a moment. I like the new look, I like the new style, and like the additions to the series. Monster Hunter has always gone through changes. It hasn't ever really been a stagnant series, especially if you go look on the online stuff they had with Monster Hunter Online and their other MMOs and online games, and those having a lot of variations, even weapons we haven't even seen yet in mainline, though we got a monster here or there. But it's always been full of changes, so it wasn't crazy, but it was nice in some ways to see Monster Hunter kind of have this big explosion in popularity amongst a mainstream audience. Because I remember when I was younger and I would talk about Monster Hunter, it wouldn't really be one of those things that a lot of people knew about. They can get the gist of it, what you do in the game's in the title. So, but sure, I'd be at school, I'd be playing it on my 3DS, and somebody would comment on it. Maybe friends would watch me play it, but it wasn't one of those things that all my friends were playing. Versus now, by the time I reached this point, plenty of people I knew were playing Monster Hunter, and it's getting a lot of popularity. And that's why I'm not going to come at this or really any of those games. So I might go back and talk about World and Rise, because actually my experience with Rise, though when it first came out, I did put a good 100 hours into it. Later on, I came back, yeah, for Sunbreak and play a little bit of it, but I didn't play that much. There were aspects of that game that I liked, and then there were some that I didn't. But Wilds has a lot of stuff that I do like, because it's kind of going more for that World style. Because I would say there's a good amount of difference between World and Rise, not just because one was released on PS4 and Xbox One, which are far more powerful than a Switch, and therefore could do different things. But no, that's not really a big difference. I would say the wire bug was the one thing that I didn't hate it, but I didn't really love it either. So I didn't really stick with that game as long as I would with other Monster Hunter games. But I do like Wilds more than Rise in some aspects. I've enjoyed my time, and I'll play more in the future. But I got through the content very quickly. Some of that might be my own experience playing these games and used to how the combat functions. But also, I've taken a big hiatus from Monster Hunter. I haven't played in a very, very long time, it feels like. And I came back in, and I even started out using weapons that I relatively had no experience with. I had played them here and there. I've played every weapon in Monster Hunter at some point in time. But even when I hopped onto a weapon that I didn't have experience with, it felt relatively easy. And is that an issue? I don't really know. There's probably definitely going to be harder content in the future, because of course low rank usually isn't that hard, of course. And now I'm in high rank, and I'm looking at it thinking, there's some difficulty here and there with a monster or two, but for the most part, I wasn't getting carded. I wasn't really having many problems fighting these monsters. Most of the time, when I was even really taking a lot of damage was either because I was just didn't bother upgrading gear, or just because I was doing something else while I was playing the game, or just general missteps that happen when you're playing. You know, the time it took me to beat monsters really wasn't that long. I only had like one or two experiences where I was possibly going to run out of time. And that was because I literally put the controller down, walked away and did something, came back, had 10 minutes. And I didn't even like restart the question. I just took those 10 minutes to kill the monster and went along my way. And I don't know, the more I stick with it, the more these thoughts change. That's why I had to kind of redo this a few times to kind of figure my thoughts out, especially because I would record the thing, then later on I go back and play some more, then I have different thoughts about it, and it's all over the place, honestly. But there are aspects of this game that I do enjoy. I enjoy the visuals, I enjoy the way the world is. There's some nice quality of life stuff. There's a lot of good things in this game. I actually enjoy having this more concrete, laid out story for us, and having our hunter actually be voice acted. And I enjoy the characters, seeing their personalities, interacting with them. It's fun. And I don't think the roster of monsters they picked is too small, really, at this point. I think it actually has some decent monster choices in there, and I really enjoy those. You do have the tempered monsters as well, which are enjoyable to fight, of course, and those aren't a new thing, but yeah, enjoyable. The frenzy monsters, there's not really many frenzied monsters, and they don't really take that much to kill. Like, they feel significantly weaker than their like tempered versions, or even just their normal high rank version. I think that's actually a thing that I saw, that they are actually weaker, and I've experienced it because I was grinding them a lot just to get materials to make certain things, components. Really, I was just exchanging them to get stuff to make RTN weapons, because those are the best weapons you can get, grinding those out or using them to go towards making decorations. You know, normal stuff you do when you're trying to get ready, especially because I want to be prepared when the title update comes out for the stuff that I was going to have. And I was just planning forward for that. So my thoughts just keep jumping all around with it. But I know I don't hate this game. I had fun, like genuinely, like 90 hours of fun. That's more than I get from a lot of games. Hell, some games I don't even make it 11 hours before I just say, I've seen enough, and I go along my way. That's a very common thing for me. 11 hours in a game, and then I'm finished with it. Sometimes even less than that. Maybe when the game gets more stuff and I see the new additions, and probably a year from now, who knows, we'll get an expansion. Of course, it takes time for this stuff to be rolled out, and there could always be some interesting stuff, but I don't know. I had fun, but I also keep thinking, I wonder how this game's going to progress. I wonder how they're going to ramp up some challenges with different things. We are getting arch-tempered monsters, from what I've seen with the kind of like trailer and stuff they put out for the title update and events and stuff. So it's going to be cool, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe as the games progress a little bit more, I'll put my thoughts together into something better. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble on for however long. If you enjoyed this, I don't know, do whatever you want to do. You probably watch other videos. You know what to do if you like something or dislike something. So yeah, thanks for watching. Peace. I'm out.